spiderweb # Lucas, the silver threads, and the first web of victory. In the dustiest corner of a large, old, and quiet attic, lived a tiny spider named Lucas. Lucas was the youngest member of the jumping spiders family. He had a body as soft as black velvet, huge shiny eyes that looked at everything with curiosity, and 8 twitchy legs that could never keep still. In the spider world, growing up didn't mean getting taller. Growing up meant being able to spin your own home, your own web. Until that day, Lucas had always lived in the safe, gigantic web his mum had spun, and he had watched with admiration as his big sister Bella spun perfectly patterned webs. But today was different. Today was Lucas's first web day. When his mum woke him up in the morning, she said, "You are ready now, Lucas. Choose your own corner and create your own world." Lucas chose a spot near the attic window, a gap between an old bicycle wheel and a wooden chest. It was airy and sunny here. But there was a problem. The distance between the two objects looked like a canyon to Lucas. Lucas came to the edge. He looked down. The floor was miles, actually only a meter, below. His heart was beating thump-thump in his tiny chest. "What if I fall?" he thought. "What if my web doesn't stick? What if I can't spin it straight like Bella?" The voice of "what if" had started talking inside him. But Lucas took a deep breath. He stretched all 8 of his legs. "I can do this," he said. "I am a spider. It is in my nature." Lucas pulled his first thread from the special spinneret on his tummy. This thread was as light as a kite string floating in the wind, but as strong as steel. Lucas released the end of the thread into the breeze and waited for it to stick to the wooden chest opposite. The thread floated, floated. Just as it was about to stick, a cheeky wind blew in from the window, whoosh, and blew the thread right back, sticking it onto Lucas's face. Lucas got tangled in the threads. His legs got knotted together. He looked like a confused fly caught in his own web. His sister Bella, watching him from the rafter above, giggled. "Do you need some help, little one?" Lucas's cheeks, if you could see them under the fuzz, would have turned bright red. As he struggled to free himself from the threads, he shouted with determination, "No! I will do it myself." Lucas didn't give up. He waited for the wind to settle. On his second attempt, he threw the thread and thwack. The thread stuck to the chest opposite. "Yes," shouted Lucas. This was his first bridge. Now began the hardest part. He had to walk across that tiny thread like a tightrope walker and strengthen it. Lucas stepped onto the thread. It was stretchy. The drop below was scary. But he fixed his eyes on his goal. 1 step. 2 steps. Whenever the wind shook the thread, Lucas stopped, pressed his tummy against the rope, and waited. Finally, he reached the other side. He strengthened the thread. Now, the main support was ready. Then, drawing a Y shape, he created the skeleton of the web. Run up, drop a thread. Jump down, pull the thread tight. Go right, tie a knot. Lucas was working hard. His tiny legs were starting to get tired. Being a spider looked easy from the outside, but from the inside, it was the hardest construction job in the world. When the skeleton was finished, Lucas stopped to look at his work. It was a bit wonky. One side was wider than the other. "It's not perfect," he said sadly. Just then, Uncle Webster, an old and wise spider, came beside him. "Perfection isn't in straight lines, Lucas," said Uncle Webster. "Perfection is that web standing there because of your effort. Carry on. Now you have reached the most fun part, the spiral." Lucas felt encouraged. He went to the center and started to spin. He was drawing circles from the outside in. "Spin, Lucas, spin." With every step, he measured the thread with his leg, adjusted the right distance, and plip. Stuck it down. These threads weren't like the others, these were sticky. If he stepped wrong, he could get stuck in his own web. He had to be very careful. At one point, his leg slipped. He almost fell, but he held on at the last moment. "I am so tired," he groaned. His legs were shaking. "Maybe I should continue tomorrow." But then, he thought about what use a half-finished web would be. No use at all. A half-web isn't a web. It's just string. "I will finish it," he said. Hours passed. The light coming through the attic window changed color, evening came, and then the morning sun started to rise again. Lucas tied the final knot. Snap! And he sat in the center. It was finished. Lucas looked around, out of breath. The morning sun drifted in through the window and shone directly onto Lucas's web. In that moment, something magical happened. The tiny dewdrops on the web combined with the sunlight, and the web began to sparkle like a necklace made of silver and diamonds. Yes, maybe it wasn't a flawless circle like Bella's web. Maybe the bottom right corner was a bit saggy. But this web was the brightest, proudest web in the attic. Because woven into that web were Lucas's sweat, his courage, and his refusal to give up. Just at that moment, a small fruit fly buzzing around the attic didn't notice the shining web. Buzz. Snap. The fly got caught in the web. The web vibrated. This vibration felt like a text message to Lucas. "You did it." Lucas ran immediately. This was the first meal he had caught with his own web. His mum, his sister Bella, and Uncle Webster were watching him from the rafters. Bella said, "Wow. He did a great job despite the wind in that corner." His mum smiled. "I told you, Lucas. You were ready." Lucas, standing right in the middle of his web, sparkling under the morning sun, felt like the biggest spider in the world, even though he was still only the size of a pea. He felt a sweet sense of pride in his tummy. This feeling was much more filling than the fly he was about to eat. He said to himself, "I did this. No one helped. I fell, I got tangled, I got tired, but I did it." From that day on, Lucas became one of the master architects of the attic. But no matter how big and perfect the webs he spun later were, he never forgot that wonky first web he spun on a windy day. because that web had taught him not just how to catch a fly, but how to believe in himself.